And the purpose of our invitation before us is just to inform us and inform the public on the status of implementation of the presidential directive on payment of school fees through the eCitizen platform. Secondly, challenges faced in the directive on implementation and mitigation measures taken by your department. So, PS, I don't know how long you'll do this, but we want to request you to take the shortest time. I don't know how long would you take to do the presentation?
Maybe 10 minutes.
Fine, members, I think we're okay with that. Please, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, committee members. And
sorry, members, I think, sorry, I can see each member has received. I think he has honored 20 copies at least. We have them on this. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for this opportunity once again to appear before this committee. First of all, on the onset, I want to apologize for having not been able to come for the committee meeting before because of exigencies of duty. At one point, I was out of the country. The next time, I was in a workshop in Mombasa for the State Department. But overall, I want to say that on behalf of the State Department, I want to apologize most sincerely for having not been able to come when you required me to come and explain the two issues. So I hope my apology is taken, because it was not my wish that I delay or do anything that will bring any disrepute to Parliament or even the committee. It was my interest that I come and respond accordingly to the questions asked by the honourable members. So I want to request that you indulge with us as a State Department for having delayed to come and respond. And as I say that, I want to say that we are adequately prepared, and we are prepared even from the word go to be able to give sufficient answers to the questions that you have put before us. So just to go straight away to the first question on the status of implementation of the presidential directive, I want to begin by saying that the government decided at the beginning that we need to move all the government services digital. And in the Executive Order number 1 of 2023, my State Department was directed to coordinate, or was mandated to coordinate, all eCitizen services, and subsequently the Directorate of eCitizen was created and domiciled in my State Department. And as we do this, we share this responsibility with other very important state departments, State Department for ICT and Digital Economy. We share also this with the National Treasury because of the responsibility of coordinating the technology part, coordinating the payment part, to ensure that we implement this directive on eCitizen. So it's a question of actually whole government approach. And even as we engage on this education and payment of fees, we are doing this in partnership with the Minister of ICT, the National Treasury, and the Minister of Education. So, Honourable Member, we were directed by His Excellency that all payment of fees need to move to the digital platform. And upon the directive, the PS for Basic Education gave a notice to the principals that we need to begin phasing in phases to implement this very important directive. And he issued a letter requesting the principals of the first 100 national schools to comply with the directive. And we have been in the process of making arrangements to ensure that this presidential directive is implemented. But during the process, some Kenyans went to court to challenge this directive, and the matter is now before the court. And we've been asked to, there have been issued to stop this implementation of this directive, and the lawyers now working on this case to ensure that we engage all the stakeholders so that this court case can be handled expeditiously. But on our part, we are actually prepared. We are prepared actually to begin the rollout of this system by second term, that is by 1st of May this year. And clearly we have a very robust system that's going to ensure that we're able to collect our fees digitally using a digital platform. And the reason why we have requested, we started this program is because there are quite a number of benefits to all stakeholders, the parents, the teachers, even the pupils. One is to create a very convenient way of collecting fees, and that would go a long way in ensuring that it is more cheaper to pay for school fees, because you don't have to travel long distance. You can utilize your phone and you can be able to pay school fees without a problem. This also will ensure that we have transparency and visibility of all the monies paid to the schools, unlike the current system where there's a lot of opacity, since the system has a dashboard that the school management can be able to see, the ministry can be able to see, and the government can be able to monitor all the payments without any problem. It also addresses the issue of ghost students. We are aware that for a long time, we are not very sure in our systems how many exactly the number of students we have in our schools. But using this system, we shall be able to get the numbers real time on how many students, because we're able to create a school, we create the number of students, we create a classroom. So we will be very clear on how many students are in a certain school, unlike the current system where sometimes we are not very sure how many students. And this will go a long way in helping us to make proper informed decisions, even on other issues like the amount of money we are sending in capitation to schools. We shall know how much money, because the system will accurately establish how many students are in the school, how many students are in what class, how many students have been promoted, how many students have transitioned, and that kind of thing. In addition to that, I want to say that this system also has provided for payment of fees in kind. You don't really have to have cash all the time. I know there were concerns at some point that is it really possible to pay school fees using in-kind methods like using sugarcane, using maize, using beans, using all kinds. This system provides for conversion. Whatever you bring to school in kind into money. So overall, I want to say that in terms of the opacity of the system, this system is going to ensure that we have efficiency in management of the resources of the school. First, collection of fees, and we are going to have a system which is a kind of school fee management information system that will be able to ensure that digitally we're able to monitor all the payments to the school and even all the expenditures to school. And the reason why this system is very important for government is because we want to leverage on technology to remove all the inefficiencies in the system, and that we want to ensure that we link this system to the school accounts, that whenever you pay through this system is linked to a school account, and you can be able to monitor how the money is going, because this will really increase transparency in our system. And we have engaged the telecoms, Safaricom, Airtel, and the others to be able to help us really create a system. And this system also is linked to NEMIS, our National Education Management Information System, and is also linked to IPRS in my state department, such that it is very difficult really to interfere with it, because the entire system is linked. It's linked to NEMIS, it's linked to IPRS, it's linked to birth certificates, it's linked to almost every other system in government, such that now we have centralized the entire management of systems within government. And from where I sit, this system is going to be a game changer. It's going to really ensure that management of school fees, which has been a big problem in government, is harmonized and utilized to ensure that all the invoices generated are able to be reconciled in a digital way. Digital receipts are being created. We shall minimize the issue of cash movements within the system, because you pay digitally, you don't have to carry anything. The receipt is generated digitally. You have a digital receipt. You are able to establish from the government here how much school fees. Ministry of Education says national schools will charge, say, 60,000, and that system can capture that, and you cannot charge anything extra from what is in the system. The system will not accept you to charge these extra levies, which the government has been struggling with over time. So for us, we think this is a game changer, and that reconciliation for this money will be done every day. Like at the end of the day, the system will auto-set, and it will be able to settle all the payments, and all the money will be in the school account by close of business. So I want to say that, and for those schools which already have a system in place of managing school fees, we just need to link them through an API to this system we are introducing. And the school management system will link through an API, through an integration, and the system becomes an improvement of the current system. And the whole idea is for the government to have a very clear view of what is going on in terms of management using technology. And the government fully will host this system and will offer and will be able to meet all the charges that are required, and that eCitizen now becomes the coordinating agency for all the payments for government as envisaged by His Excellency the President. So to me, I think this is a very good innovation, and I want to request members of Parliament to give us the support even as we implement this, because this is a game changer for the entire school system. We are saying with eCitizen now and with connection to all these other systems, it will. So for us, where we sit, we have a very robust system. We are ready, subject to the court case that is there, which we are also requesting for your support. I think we are good to go for second term to ensure that the entire ministry's payment of school fees is integrated into one system. As to the challenges, I want to say that, of course, one of the main challenges that we have is, of course, we realized that when we started eCitizen, there were a few challenges with the universities. The universities were not ready then. Their systems were not able to integrate to the solution that we provided. That was one of the challenges. They are also a very slow uptake. I've given a list of the number of services onboarded. There's still a lot of work to be done to ensure that everybody is onboarded onto eCitizen. At some point also we had a problem with the settlement of funds. When we started, it took a little bit longer for the funds to be settled by the National Treasury. As you are aware, all this money that is being collected ends up in the National Treasury, and they're the ones actually who settles this money. So when we started the universities at the beginning, there was a little bit of a delay in settlement, and that is what slowed us down even implementing this. The other challenge is on cyber security. As you are aware, honorable members, through the chair, security of the country now has gone digital. Most of our digital assets now are a bit exposed, and we are working hard to ensure that we secure all our digital assets. We have been working very closely with NC4 and other agencies to ensure that we secure, because now eCitizen is the engine, and we are now collecting more than 700 million per day from eCitizen, and you know that really attracts a lot of interest. And our target is that by the end of this year, we should be collecting 1 billion daily from services from eCitizen platform. And with that kind of money, then cybersecurity becomes our major challenge. Currently, we have a robust system for hosting eCitizen, and we have a command center, a security command center in their house that coordinates this system. But we believe that it is the responsibility of all of us to ensure that eCitizen is secure, because it has provided a solution where most of these other manual systems have existed. The other challenge we have been having as eCitizen maybe has been budgetary constraints. As you're aware, this eCitizen platform was actually kind of created recently, and we've taken time to be able to get the necessary budget approvals to support this very important government project. Overall, I would want to say that the story of eCitizen largely is a successful story, because we have been able to onboard 16,000 services online right now. We have 16,000 services Kenyans can enjoy. Every day, we have between 100 to 200,000 Kenyans using eCitizen on daily basis. And we have been collecting around 700 million daily for the last 3-4 months. And in November last year, we hit a record. We hit 900 million. And I think by and large, in terms of digital transformation of the country, eCitizen has done very well to ensure that the country has moved towards a digital platform. And there are many other plans to ensure that this system really is able to carry the country forward in terms of ensuring that, by the way, honorable members, apart from M-Pesa, one of the other most popular systems.
Yes, your time is up, but don't stray. Your time is up. Actually.
In 1 minute, sir, Your Excellency,
okay.
Sir.
I've allowed you 5 minutes, actually, but you seem to be straying now.
Okay. Just one last point.
Okay.
Apart from M-Pesa platform, the second largest system now in government is eCitizen. I think that's the point I needed to make.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, just some correction. You are talking to us as if you are the one who invited us to tell us what eCitizen is all about. It is us who invited you. Just know that it's us who invited you to share with us what we have asked you to share, not really to convince us to support you. Take note for each member's issues. You'll respond after.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to thank the PS for the good presentation that he has done. Chair, while I cannot underscore the importance of eCitizen, but Chair, I have issues with it, and particularly the procedure. Chair, you see, the PS has indicated that the case is before the court, and probably the reason, Chair, is did the ministry or the State Department do public participation so that Kenyans can buy this idea of eCitizen? Because here we have a problem whereby there are roadside declarations or some directives are made, and yet maybe there are no proper public participation. So, Chair, maybe you should tell us that. Then point number 2, Chair, you've spoken of about 50 shillings. And I want to know how much are the parents going to be charged when they pay their school fees through eCitizen? Who is going to incur the cost of payment? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I also want to appreciate the presentation, but I have some reservations, Chair. When we look at the institutions which have been brought on board, which include teacher technical training colleges, national schools, extra count schools, and count schools, I want to know whether the department is aware that there are some parts of this country which do not have electricity, number one, and then even the net. Is it that the eCitizen is going to work on half of the country's institutions, and the rest are going to be left out? Which survey have you made, and how are you going to mitigate that? Thank you, Chair.
Abdul.
Thank you, Chair. And I also take cue from my colleagues to thank the PS for the good presentation. I think the world is going through what we call the fourth industrial revolution. And I think as a member, I'm fully in support of a system of technology that will help resolve some of the problems we face as Kenyans. But when it comes to the payment of school fees through the eCitizen, I would have a couple of concerns that I would be happy if the PS could address. One, you've mentioned that the money collected goes through the treasury. I would be interested to know which are those agencies apart from treasury, which other agencies are tracking what the schools are collecting. And since you have said it goes to the treasury, what's the role of treasury in the whole system? Does it receive the fees and then give it back to the schools, or does it take it through the normal treasury processes to, reallocate money to the schools? How does it work? How does the system work? And I wanted to know, because you have said this system tracks all the payments to the schools. Can it be used to curb issues, for example, charged by schools for extra charges? I know many schools have separate accounts for extra charges, uniform, they call it tuition fee, they call it whatever. Does the system track those extra charges apart from the normal school fees? And finally,
two questions, Mheshimiwa. Let's just reserve that one for the second round.
Okay.
Please, Kisairo.
Thank you, Chair. For me, I'll start by asking a question on the PS's presentation on page 4, where it talks about transparency, visibility in fees, revenue collection, and all that. Now, what are we trying to curb here? Is it to know how much the school has collected or how much is lost in school fees? Because if it's about loss, we lose money at the point of expenditure. We don't lose money at the point of collection. That's the burden of the school to ensure they've collected money. But what the government should be focused on is ensuring the money collected is not lost. Your system does not, it just collects. How that money is used, we don't know. So therefore, we are not solving a problem we may have wanted to solve, because even as a nation, we budget for corruption. And budget is a point of expenditure, not at the point of collection. So I'm not sure whether that statement really makes a lot of sense in terms of being a positive for why we want to use eCitizen. eCitizen is a good platform for other services like collecting revenue for passports and all that. But I'm not very confident about collecting school fees, because the other issue you're saying on point number 3, page 5, at the top there, address issues of ghost students in schools. You've already said it will be linked with NEMIS. We know NEMIS is also linked with the birth certificates. So what positive is this bringing up? Because we already have NEMIS, a government system. Are you saying it's not doing its job? And if not, why trust your system which is going to link into it? You're already linking into a faulty system. I'm not sure whether linking into a faulty system makes your system any better. Actually, it may pull down your system by making it worse. Because why don't we strengthen NEMIS? Unless we're saying our goal here is the 50 shillings. On average, if we're having 1 million students joining Form 1 times 4, those are 4 million. Our target here is 200 million shillings. And in this case, you said it's going to make the fees, cheaper for the parent. I'm sorry to say it's going to make it more expensive for the parent, because for every transaction, there will be a 50 bob charge. Most parents cannot afford fees in one go. This month they get 1,000, next month 1,000, 2,000. So within a term, the parent may have to go to eCitizen 5 times. You've just increased the parent's burden by 200 shillings. So you are not making it cheaper. Lastly,
Mheshimiwa, just reserve the last one to the next round, just like Abdullah has done.
all right, thank you, Chair.
Toroitich.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, PS, for the presentation. PS, you have, under the first page of your presentation, you say that the directive will commence on the 1st of May, subject to 2 things. 1, subject to the court order, and 2, subject to adequate stakeholder engagement. PS, I have also had the advantage of reading the court ruling. And what Justice Muita Chacha said in the High Court in Nakuru, he said the reason why this program was stopped was because there was no, he said currently there is no legislation or legal framework to guide how the funds are utilized and sent back to the end users. That there was no proper legal, no proper structure of how the funds will be utilized and sent back to the end users. Now, PS, are you admitting that in this country, public participation is a cardinal constitutional legal principle, that you cannot do anything without consulting the Constitution? Are you admitting that there was failure and that you implemented a presidential directive without due process? Because it is clear that in this process there was no proper stakeholder engagement. Are you admitting that there's a problem?
Sorry, Nabi.
Thank you, Chair. PS, I've listened to you use very lofty words, very good English, but I'm wondering, you are struggling with giving people passports. The whole country. Students can't go overseas because they are on the queue. And you seem to have shifted your interest from the core business of that ministry to eCitizen, which first of all, in my opinion, is wrongly housed. It should be in the ICT department. What comfort can I have with a state department that is unable to execute its mandate of passport issuance and timely ID cards, that you will handle this? My second question, school, because of the nature of payment, that parents are very poor. They live hand to mouth. So the cash flow is the main issue here. If Treasury is unable to remit money they collect themselves, which is at central bank, how comfortable can we sit here, approve this thing, which is going to take money to Treasury, the Treasury that up to today even is unable to give me money for CDF?
I start with the first one on the court cases. I appreciate that you asked and then Honorable Tonge asked. First, to note that when the presidential directive was issued early this year, then some stakeholders went to court to try to stop the implementation of the presidential directive. So, just to make it clear that the case started immediately the directive was issued, and that our lawyers have been on the case. The case was heard, and Honorable Justice Muita actually issued orders to stop the implementation of this policy, subject to what Honorable Timothy has said. Of course, stakeholder engagement, and of course public participation, and many other reasons. But just to say that although the system is ready, we have not been able to continue engaging on this particular subject because of the orders issued by the judge. So as we speak now, we have stopped our plans to engage the principals, to engage all the stakeholders until this matter is lifted or determined. So that's what I wanted to clarify. And that in terms of the 50 shillings, our engagement with the service provider, which largely will be Safaricom, is that we were not going to charge 50 bob for this system. We are not going to charge 50 bob for the system. It's very clear. We have an arrangement with them. We have a system in place. We have tested the system, and 50 bob is not going to be charged for this particular system for payment of school fees. It's not going to be charged. So I want to make that very, very clear. For all the other government services on eCitizen, 50 bob is being charged. But for this particular payment of school fees, we are very clear, and we have agreed with Safaricom on how this system is going to be implemented without charging the 50 bob that has been charged for all the other services for government. And just to answer the question again by Honorable Tonge, how much will the parents pay? I want to say that in our engagement with Safaricom, we agreed that they are going to deploy this system for free. And for information, right now as we speak, there are 1,300 primary school, or rather private schools, that are already using a similar system that we want to introduce to the public schools. And the system is very successful in those schools. And the objective of this system is to ensure that we have proper visibility. We are aware that there are many schools which charge extra charges to parents and to students without authority from the Ministry of Education. It's very clear, it's common knowledge that there are principals who introduce charges which are not part of the approved fee structure by the government. So in as far as how much the parents will pay the amount that is authorized by Ministry of Education for different categories of schools. If it is national school, we know the fee. If it is county school, we know the fee. If it's a extra-county school, we know the fee. So this system is largely free. Honorable Cherusha asked about the connectivity and whether we are going to roll out this system.
If I understood the question from the member, yes, there is the fee. I don't know, maybe you're not aware how they do the payments. There is other extra levies. His focus is that these other extra levies, how is this system going to assist in curbing that? Because after paying the normal fees, the one of 54, the one of 56, the one of 43, schools also ask for other levies. So he's asking, how is this system going to control that?
Yes, Honorable Chair. I think that is a question by Honorable Jesaito. I think that was a question by Honorable Jesaito, but not by Honorable Tonge. Jesairo. Oh, it was
You know some of them.
Honorable Abdul.
You know some of them you combine.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for that guidance, Chair.
Maybe, okay.
Before the PS leaves the question of stakeholders and public participation, which one is supposed to begin? Is it the policy or vice versa? You know, because why do you issue a policy and then it's challenged in court, then you come back to do what you should have done? In your own opinion, Bwana PS, which is supposed to begin? Are we supposed to begin with the policy or the public participation and stakeholders engagement?
Well, thank you very much. I think, as you have rightly, I think it depends on the issue at hand. As you are aware, it is the government general policy that we leverage on technology. And I think Honorable Abdul put it very clearly that in this era, digital transformation, utilizing technology to be able to provide services, to provide efficiency is the way to go. So I want to say that there was a little bit of a hurry in that issue because when the directive was issued by His Excellency, we had to look for a way of implementing it as soon as we could. So you'll bear with me on that. But allow me to go to the next question about the connectivity. I think,
Chair, just before the PS moves on.
It's Cyril.
He said that they've agreed with Safaricom and there will be no charge. I'm not sure whether the PS is aware that eCitizen runs on internet platform. And the most parents from my constituency, the rural Kenya, operate with Mulika Mwizi. This parent, therefore, needs a cyber, someone who will charge the parent, whereas the school is right outside his gate. He or she could have delivered cash. So you're not telling us it's going to be cheaper, PS.
So I think we can give him time because there was the aspect of smartphone, internet. I think the mistake he was making, he wanted to respond to each member's issue independently, but some of them he combine.
Yeah, but Chair, our point of order based on what he said. PS, you've said in a response to the question by a member, insinuating that a government policy can override a constitution. When you respond to a question by Honorable Tongay, PS, that would be disaster. There is nothing in this country that can override the constitution. It is the constitution first, then the policy second. So if the constitution says there must be public participation, you cannot say a presidential directive will overt that. What it basically means, once the president has given a direction, it is up to you to live within, implement it within the law.
Yeah.
And the chair,
Point of order, because of time, I think he has admitted. He thought, I think he said so, that he thought, now that this was a presidential directive, he would go that direction. So he has admitted. So for progress, he has admitted. You can proceed.
We now that it is on hold because of the court case, is there anything that they will do before they start implementing so that Mwananchi is aware of what's happening?
I think he has admitted that he thought, but the court has made it so clear that it must go. Yes. So I'm sure after that, the court will come up with a ruling, with a position, then he will actually follow the right steps. Yeah, that's why I was correcting him, that he's not the one who has invited us to inform us about this. It's us who invited him for a particular communication. So can you just proceed?
Okay, thank you very much, Chair, for that direction. I want to add to say that we are doing everything possible to ensure that there is connectivity across the country for this system to succeed. And of course, I'm aware that there are areas in this country where we have schools and we don't have internet connectivity. And the Ministry of ICT is rolling out the superhighway, the fiber optic cable around the country to increase connectivity so that these services that we are rolling out digitally can reach out to the farthest, remotest areas of this country. Now, Honorable Chesairo asked me, what are we trying to curb? Is it usually there's a problem in expenditure and not collection? I think, as I had said in my earlier presentation, Honorable Chesairo, through the chair, we are focusing on harmonizing. And I've said, head teachers around the country have been charging extra charges. Some of these charges are not approved by the Ministry of Education. And we all know, it's actually common knowledge that we know that even in collection, the school fees charged by a school can be 53,000. But when you look at what ultimately the parent pays, it's much more than the 53,000. And it's very clear, it's open secret that all of us know. So as much as we have a problem also in expenditure, there's also a challenge in collection. In some schools, surprise, there are teachers who create ghost students in their system so that they get more money in terms of capitation. And we all know that, and it's a fact. And it's going to cure that. And I am confident that when we implement this successfully, even the capitation that goes to Ministry of Education is likely to decrease, because we shall have a system which is able to check accurately how many students we have on the ground. On the question...
Follow up.
Chair,
Follow up.
Members, I want to caution you.
Follow up.
We just want to caution you. Don't get into areas that are not yours. You know, when you have talked of M-Pesa, which is not your area, you are now talking of capitation, which is not your area. You are talking of ICT rollout in the country, which is not your area. Please, just focus on the issues members are raising that are within your capacity. Please.
Chair, just a follow up because it was my question. As he attempted to answer it, he moved back to what Tonkei has asked. How are you going to stop those extra charges? How is the system going to stop? Number two, if you're saying the school heads are creating ghost students within another government system, NEMIS, what stops them from again creating ghost students within eCitizen? Because I can give you an example. It's not hard for me to do that. I am the parent. I can decide how many children I have. I can work with the principal and tell him I'm going to pay an extra 5,000 shillings on eCitizen for 5 kids that I don't actually have. I just go to the principal and collect my 5,000. Capitation will still come. How does this curb it?
Proceed, and now you have to navigate so carefully. Keep your lane.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. I just want to reiterate one point on collection of revenue. I think PFM Act, as we all be aware, provides for use of technology to collect all levies and all revenues for government, and I think that is very clear. But let me go back to the question asked by Honorable Timothy, that before the court stopped us from going on, we had agreed with the Ministry of Education to roll out stakeholder engagements across the country in all regions. We had agreed we are going to roll out, we are going to engage the public extensively on all before we roll out this program. So it was in our plan to work together with Ministry of Education, to visit schools, to visit parents, to ensure that we do as much public participation as possible. So that was in the plan. And in terms of legal framework, I think it's very clear that the law provides for use of technology. Actually, and same for what Mheshimiwa is saying, that we didn't do public participation, so we are against the Constitution. Clearly, PFM Act provides for this arrangement where you can use technology to be able to collect any monies across the country.
Chair, you see, I cited the court ruling by Justice Muita. Chair, my friend PS talks about that it is already spelled, but the court has given an opposition to the effect that, as we speak, there is no legal framework to implement that particular circular. I've said clearly, the court has said that there is no legal framework. So, PS, you cannot contradict the court at this point in time, unless there is a final determination on this matter. As we speak, the order that was issued by the court was to the effect that there is no legal framework.
You will need to know.
Honorable Chair.
Excuse me. You will need maybe to know a few things when it comes to what it takes for public participation. You'll have to get to know that. What is this that takes one or a country or a department to go public participation? Proceed.
Okay, allow me, Honorable Chair, because I'm not a lawyer by profession, to allow my legal officer here, with your permission, Chair, to respond to that particular matter on the court ruling, because it is a bit technical. So allow me, I have Jack Okula here, who can be able to respond adequately to that question, because it is legal in nature. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, honorable members. Wakili, thanks for raising that question. We have looked at the petition and even the application and some of the issues that have been raised. Of course, a court order is not a myth, it's not a suggestion, it's an order. And we intend to respect the court order even before the rollout of this program, unless the order is lifted. Be that as it may, the issues that were raised were a myriad of issues, but the court limited itself and proclaimed itself on particularly the collection of school fees through eCitizen, which they said, as you rightly put it, that one, there was no sufficient public participation, and two, that it was very unclear whether there was a legal framework that addressed the issue of collection of school fees through eCitizen. As the PS has rightly pointed out, when the president, we were planning to roll out this program subject to public participation. But again, I would be very hesitant to contradict the court, because the matter is still active in court. So I am prevented from looking at the substantive issues. However, if you look at the Constitution, particularly Article 226 and Article 201 and the PFM Act, Section 12, where the National Treasury has been mandated to prescribe an efficient financial management system, we were convinced, as we were then, that there was legal framework to roll out the program. However, since the matter is in court, we are canvassing that through our response to the court petition, so we are able to lift the order. Now, the only comfort that we have now is that as long as the court order subsists, then we cannot progress the program. Thank you.
Continue, PS.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Chair, again. Just to respond
give him time to respond. Okay. Those were loud enough.
Honorable Chair, just to respond to the question by Honorable Abdul, I think he raised a very fundamental issue on global digital transformation. And in his question, he asked about the tables we have in the document. I want to say that overall, in the Ministry of Education, we have quite a number of agencies who have onboarded their services on eCitizen. As I said, the total number of services now on eCitizen is 16,000 live services. And we have captured some here from some universities, from the State Department for Basic Education, Higher Education, and even TVETs, who have been able to onboard, and they're able to enjoy the convenience of their services, and they're able to collect more revenues through eCitizen. That's why we have this table here. But I wanted to thank Honorable Abdul for actually capturing the fact that what is driving the world right now is technology. And that is why Kenya Kwanza government is very keen on leveraging on technology to enhance service delivery, to close all the loopholes of corruption, and to ensure that all the monies that is due for government is collected as efficiently and with the most convenient and cheapest way possible. Now, to come back now to Honorable's question about passports, I think Mheshimiwa asked me, what are you doing about school fees when we are not able to do enough on the passports? I want to make it very clear, honorable members. Last year, in the last 1 year, we have been able to print 533,000 passports. Initially, in the last year before we came to government, the government was printing about 200,000 passports, 250,000. So we have doubled. And in this year, 2024, we are planning to produce 1 million passports. Actually, 4 times more than what was done in 2022 and before. What I want to say about passports is that most of the problems we have had in passports are inherited problems related to underinvestment. There's very little money that has been invested. And the good news is that today I'll be receiving new 2 state-of-art printers to deal with passports. We have also procured 1 million booklets, the record number in the history of this country. The procurement has already been completed. We have new printers. And going forward, within another 1 to 2 months, nobody in this country should be complaining about passports. We shall have dealt with that problem once and for all. And I'm very confident from where I sit, we have dealt with the issue of passports. We're also doing many other things. We have also implemented visa-free as immigration, and it's very successful. We have been able to receive more than 400,000 visitors in the last 3 months coming on visa-free in this country. So in terms of mandate, I want to say that we are doing this because the executive order is very clear that we coordinate eCitizen because we are a citizen services department. We are a department handling all matters citizen services. That's why we are doing this. And eCitizen is a component of citizen services. It's only that we are using technology, and we are working very closely with ICT. We have very regular meetings with ICT, monthly meetings, to engage on the technology component, cyber security, and other support, because, Mheshimiwa, you have said this eCitizen is supposed to be in ICT. I think it is in the right place from where I sit, because we are getting support, technological support from ICT, which is the way government is. They are our enablers. But in terms of ensuring that our citizens are satisfied, our citizens are happy, they pay conveniently, that is our business as the State Department for Immigration and Citizen Services. Thank you, Chair.
And I said, we know money going to Treasury. Treasury is the most inefficient in this country.
Nabi, maybe just to add on what Nabi is saying. You see, when I raised my bursary 2 weeks ago, most schools, some of the schools are not held their AGMs. Some are not paid their workers. When I gave them the check like this, CDF, organized for AGMs, paid salaries for their staff, BOM teachers and support staff. Now, supposing this money was to come to Treasury, which delays, what would have happened? Maybe this is what Nabi is asking. So respond to that, and then before we get to the second round of questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Ichendi. I think clearly we know where we've come from in terms of exchequer releases. It's been taking long. But I want to say that we have designed a system that is real time, that is able to reconcile itself on daily basis by close of business, the same day. And
excuse me, PS. Get the questions right. He's asking that Treasury delays to release money. Even as you're talking now, we have not received for this financial year. We haven't received money for development. We haven't received for bursary.
And the year is 2 months.
Yes, so he's just asking. When a parent has paid money, he's asking a very simple question. When a parent has paid money, the school would want quickly to use this money, part of it to pay their teachers on BOM, pay for services, vegetables, whatever, beans, quickly. Because they're also dealing with the suppliers who also require that money immediately. Now just asking, it's really time, the information there is really time. But it's just asking a very simple question. How will you ensure that the moment that money is paid, the 200 a parent has paid, 300, which comes to 10,000, has gone back to the school immediately to use for the immediate use in the school, like even buying chalk.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Let me put it this way so that I'm very clear. We have a system called T+1, where money sent to the Treasury goes to eCitizen settlement account and goes directly to the school within the same day. It's automatic settlement. Let me put it that way. It's automatic settlement. This money is not going for exchequer the same way our money goes to Treasury and then it's allocated, it goes through Parliament. This is a different system that is going to ensure that money is automatically settled within the same day the parents pay. I hope I'm very clear on that. And maybe I can give DG eCitizen maybe to mention something if you allow me, Mr. Chair.
You have explained. Second question, second round of questions. Sairo?
Thank you, Chair. Payment of school fees in kind will be monetized through the platform. Can you explain to us how Treasury will receive firewood? Because you said you'll monetize. Just tell Mwananchi to understand how you'll monetize it so that it reflects. Number two, I'm not very convinced that the whole agenda behind the collecting of fees through eCitizen is to improve collection or make it more efficient. School heads are very efficient in that, left to their own devices. Maybe you may choose to answer this or not. To me, I feel like this is just another way of government trying to capture more citizens into their system on behalf of KRA.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I start with a question by Honorable Abdul, although he stepped out, on the dashboard, who has the rights, who can be able to see. I want to say that ordinarily, dashboards are administrative tools to monitor performance or movement of. So in this case, there could be rights. There's the back end and there's front end. So I want to say that there are restrictions. All right, there are those things the public can see, there are those things the public cannot see. But the objective of the dashboard is to have a clear picture of what is going on in the system. In terms of capitation, I think the National Treasury should be able to answer the question of tracking of capitation. I think as Oversight Committee, I think Honorable Chair, this one I would leave it to National Treasury because I don't want to get into the waters which are not mine as you guided. Honorable Chesairo asked about payment in kind, which Honorable Tunge has also asked. I want to say, for the longest period in this country, payment in kind. Even me, when I was going to Sunday school, I used to carry a maize cob and it's converted into money. The same way, children around the country, their parents come with either maize. For example, I want to give a very simple example. You have grown maize in your farm. You have 10 bags. You want to use it to pay school fees. You carry the 10 bags. It is converted into the amount of money. You are given a receipt. And that money, instead of the school going again to buy maize for food, they can convert the same maize into food. It's happened across the board.
Chair, Chair, kindly, because we would like the PS just to be brief. Huh? We know about payment in kind. We do it. We've done it. We see it happening in our constituencies. Our question is simple. The eCitizen provides even a digital receipt. My question is, how will you give a digital receipt on this maize, bag of maize? That's what I'm asking.
And Honorable Chair, and I'm actually saying the equivalent.
Don't explain what you're explaining. You know, the problem is you're trying to explain how you also went through the same. No, just respond to this. And one has Mbuzi, 10 of them. Exactly.
Okay. Let me put it this way to make it more forthright and more straightforward. When you bring 10 Mbuzi, assume one Mbuzi is 10,000 shillings. So when you bring 10 Mbuzi, that is 100,000 shillings. What will be captured in the record to create the digital receipt will be the 100,000, which is in kind.
Who is valuing it? Yeah. Who is capturing it? Because I give up.
I think the school and the school manager.
Just a minute.
This parent has come with Kuni to school, right? The reason we are having eCitizen is to remove the principal and whoever from manipulating figures, right? So he's brought Kuni to the school. How does our platform now quantify that the Kuni that has come is for 10,000 shillings so that it can give a digital receipt? And once it gives a digital receipt, Treasury has not received any money. So how does it clear this student to have paid fees?
Wasike has Najala in St. Cecilia, Girls Mautuma, in the same area. Wasike
As who?
Najala, a student in St. Cecilia Girls Mautuma. The same Wasike has Wanyonyi as a boy in Mautuma Secondary. He takes 2 bags to Mautuma and takes 2 bags to St. Cecilia. Mautuma says a bag is 2,000. St. Cecilia says a bag is 1,500. How does Wasike behave?
Yes.
I think clearly, Honorable Chair, honorable members can see clearly that there is an element of valuation which has to be done by the school for the in-kind kind of goods you are bringing. If you are bringing a mbuzi, we have to leave it to the benefit of doubt that the school will accurately give the value and give you a digital receipt for the in-kind that you give. And my understanding is that this system has been going on. We are not introducing anything new here. Many schools have been receiving school fees in kind, whether it is kuni, whether it is mbuzi,
Yes.
whether it is maize,
Yes.
and
Yes, we are not making progress. We are not making progress. Sometimes give in and say that it's what members have raised is an issue for us to look at. You know, again, when you leave it to the principal to do the evaluation, an individual, we come to the same. You can value that to be 10,000, then you will sell at 20,000.
And
Just say-
again,
just say
also to just assist, because at the end of the day now, once the principal realizes he has that leeway, the whole eCitizen idea just collapses, because at the end of the day now, the principal can decide that his entire school fees format is in kind.
So just say,
Chair.
you say we are helping you when the court rules makes final judgment. You see, you take into consideration what we are raising. Otherwise, if you defend, you are failing, and the media is picking you. Are we there? Just admit this is an issue for us to.
thank you very much, Chairman. I'm sorry if I was defending. I was actually explaining further details, but
You see, the moment
I
you
am
say-
taking
Yes, the
into
moment
cognizance.
Chairman, what they're saying, you know, the moment you say, you leave it at the discretion of the principal, you abuse the whole thing. You abuse the whole thing. Because we know us are teachers, and we oversight them. We know who they are. We know how they want to go around the system. You see, they are the ones who are crying even out there that you are making it so difficult for them to collect fees, to dispense with matters in the school immediately. So please,
Chair.
members,
Chair.
I think we've had enough from
Chair,
the PS.
before, Chair, it is now clear that this is a case where the cat came before the horse. Chair, PS, you have to sit down and develop guidelines, because you cannot tell us that each principal will have to value. You have to develop proper legal guidelines to guide the implementation of this particular program, because without guidelines, then it will be messy. You know?
I think members, we've come to the end of this meeting. Members, of course, we are done also our in-house before, and looking at the time, can we say the meeting is adjourned?
More radio, 88.2 FM. We are in charge.
So, welcome, PS and your team. We have invited you to this committee. And the purpose of our invitation before us is just to inform us and inform the public on the status of implementation of the presidential directive on payment of school fees through the eCitizen platform. Secondly, challenges faced in the directive on implementation and mitigation measures taken by your department. So, PS, I don't know how long you'll do this, but we want to request you to take the shortest time. I don't know how long would you take to do the presentation?
Maybe 10 minutes.
Fine, members, I think we are okay with that. Please, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, committee members. And
Sorry, members, I think, sorry, I can see each member has received, I think he has honored 20 copies at least, we have them on this. Proceed.
thank you, Honorable Chair, for this opportunity once again to appear before this committee. First of all, on the onset, I want to apologize for having not been able to come for the committee meeting before because of exigencies of duty. At one point, I was out of the country. The next time I was in a workshop in Mombasa for the State Department. But overall, I want to say that on behalf of the State Department, I want to apologize most sincerely for having not been able to come when you required me to come and explain the two issues. So I hope my apology is taken, because it was not my wish that I delay or do anything that will bring any disrepute to Parliament or even the committee. It was my interest that I come and respond accordingly to the questions asked by the honourable members. So I want to request that you indulge with us as a State Department for having delayed to come and respond. And as I say that, I want to say that we are adequately prepared, and we are prepared even from the word go to be able to give sufficient answers to the questions that you have put before us. So just to go straight away to the first question on the status of implementation of the presidential directive, I want to begin by saying that the government decided at the beginning that we need to move all the government services digital. And in the Executive Order number 1 of 2023, my State Department was directed to coordinate, or was mandated to coordinate, all eCitizen services, and subsequently the Directorate of eCitizen was created and domiciled in my State Department. And as we do this, we share this responsibility with other very important state departments, State Department for ICT and Digital Economy. We share also this with the National Treasury because of the responsibility of coordinating the technology part, coordinating the payment part, to ensure that we implement this directive on eCitizen. So it's a question of actually whole government approach. And even as we engage on this education and payment of fees, we are doing this in partnership with the Ministry of ICT, the National Treasury, and the Ministry of Education. So, Honourable Member, we were directed by His Excellency in that all payment of fees need to move to the digital platform. And upon the directive, the PS for Basic Education gave a notice to the principals that we need to begin facing in phases to implement this very important directive. And he issued a letter requesting the principals of the first 100 national schools to comply with the directive. And we have been in the process of making arrangements to ensure that this presidential directive is implemented. But during the process, some Kenyans went to court to challenge this directive, and the matter is now before the court. And we've been asked the orders have been issued to stop this implementation of this directive, and the lawyers now working on this case to ensure that we engage all the stakeholders so that this court case can be handled expeditiously. But on our part, we are actually prepared. We are prepared actually to begin the rollout of this system by second term, that is by 1st of May this year. And clearly we have a very robust system that's going to ensure that we're able to collect our fees digitally using a digital platform. And the reason why we have requested, we started this program is because there are quite a number of benefits to all stakeholders, the parents, the teachers, even the pupils. One is to create a very convenient way of collecting fees, and that would go a long way in ensuring that it is more cheaper to pay for school fees, because you don't have to travel long distance. You can utilize your phone and you can be able to pay school fees without a problem. This also will ensure that we have transparency and visibility of all the money paid to the schools, unlike the current system where there's a lot of opacity.